Maybe. Hey, all right, we're on air. It's August 24th. This is a meeting to check in on current development tests for Backdrop CMS. On the agenda today, first up, updates from the PMC. We're currently signing and returning contracts to the Software Freedom Conservancy so that they can start our fiscal sponsorship agreement. So that's exciting and hopefully coming soon. This week, we have a fantastic new contributor that we want to say thank you to. His name is Flynn, and he spent a lot of time working on the Twilio module from Drupal, ported it to Backdrop, asked for feedback, went through the process. I think he's in the contributed group now, so that's really exciting. I didn't check on other contributed projects that were added, but I think there might be new ones. I didn't update the agenda. Nate, do you want to take it over and talk about Backdrop?
Sure. So there's been lots of things happening in the Backdrop world, in the Backdrop code base. So our next, we'll talk about the bug fix release first, of course. The next bug fix release is Backdrop 1.7.3. With the Backdrop 1.8 release coming out next month, it's likely that 1.7.3 will be the last bug fix release for the 1.7 version. And our focus in bug fixing releases right now is mostly about cross-porting functionality from the last couple of bug fix releases from Drupal 7. And so we've got 4 issues right now that track cross-ports from Drupal 7. The first one, the ones from Drupal 7.50 and previous, is more than halfway done, but and all the pull requests that I think are ready or have already been merged in there. It's currently marked needs work for the current pull requests. And I think the remaining issues, 27, 74, 75, and 76, I don't think the work has begun on those. So all of those things, though, as they are bug fix releases or bug fix, we can get them in at any time. And so I think a lot of people have been thinking that prior to September 1st, we'll focus on functionality and new features. And then after September 1st, when we have code freeze on 1.8, we'll kind of pivot attention back to ports and bugs that are in the 1.7 versions. Okay. Yeah, no major focus for the 1.7.3 bug fix release other than those cross-ports. No major bugs that we're aware of that would prioritize any kind of immediate release. Oh, hang on, sorry, except that Jeff just posted one that is a bug of note, which is 2806, which is related to views. Oh. Yeah, it looks like a change to the way that we handle drop buttons may have issue in views. Yep, that's a good one, Jeff. That is, you know, breaking the display of the views page is not a good problem to be having. It still looks like it's functional. It's just a little mangled with some floating. That's issue 2806.
I wonder if this one is connected to it as well. 2808.
Configure/remove blocks on mobile, getting the drop downs on individual blocks on 1.7.2 is impossible.
I haven't tested it, but I'm wondering if they're connected.
Interesting. Yeah, maybe. Looks like we have some work to do checking our touch support probably on the drop downs. I actually am not aware that we've done any work on drop downs in mobile. definitely worth looking into. Okay, yeah, both of those good items. Maybe we will have reason to push out a bug fix release to 1.7 then. Okay, well, let's keep rolling along here to 1.8. 1.8, its release date will be September 15th, 2017. So that's coming right on up. We have code freeze on September 1st, and this is actually something that I would like to bring up for discussion here. In that, let me pull up Mr. Calendar so that I have the full dates here. Okay, so 4th, at least in the United States, is a national holiday. It's Labor Day. And so that puts our release September 1st being on a Friday directly before, our code freeze being on a Friday directly before 3-day weekend. And in the past, we've had this happen. I think it happened on Memorial Day one year, another 3-day weekend, that when code freeze landed on Sunday, we pushed out code freeze to end on Tuesday instead because of the 3-day weekend basically provided us more opportunities to get final functionality into 1.8. This is a little bit more of a stretch because it's on a Friday, and so we'd be pushing out code freeze possibly until the start of the week, which, we could go the 4th or the 5th, but that would be pushing it out several days instead of just 1 or 2 as we did previously. Anyway, it's an option that I'd like to put out there to see how we feel about potentially pushing out the code freeze deadline a couple of days to allow for more time over that weekend. Right now, we haven't broken a whole lot in 1.8, really pretty low. By broken a lot, I mean we haven't actually included a lot, so there's very little to break. So yeah, thoughts for those that are present?
I'm for it. I think the spirit of code freeze is just give us enough time before the launch date. So I think it's in the spirit of it.
Just as long as we don't shove in major breaking changes that will actually make it so that we can't fix them before September 15th. Yeah, that definitely is not something we want. Okay, well, we'll keep that in mind. Gregory, Jen, do you guys have thoughts on that?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay. Do you guys have any firm thoughts around the actual date that we want to officially endorse, whether that would be the 4th, which is Monday, so the end of Labor Day, or 5th, which is the first weekday after Labor Day?
Let's do the 4th, because I imagine everybody will be working on the 5th. So if we don't get it done by the 4th, we're not going to get it done on the 5th.
Okay, end of day on the 4th. Yeah. Which is the way that our code freezes have always worked. It's not like the beginning of the day. It's basically, as long as it's that day kind of somewhere, then that's the deadline. Okay. Well, September 4th it is. Let's make a note here in the agenda. Feature freeze. Okay. That's good. Okay, so let's talk about 1.8 and functionality in 1.8 that we're hoping to build out. One item that we've got here, a major item, is the media library. Media library has a meta issue at 1448 that has a bunch of sub-issues. The issue that is currently showing the most progress and has a pull request that is apparently RTBC. Can it be true?
No, it says it needs RTBC.
Oh, well, it's marked RTBC currently.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
what?
Herb Duel marked to RTBC 4 days ago. So that's awesome. That's issue 2796. And that just, we already have the ability to show a list of all files and to edit.
No.
No, we don't have the ability to edit. Previously, we only had the ability to delete. So this adds the ability to edit existing files and replace them with other files. Is that correct, Jen? So you can take a file and remove it and then upload a new one?
Well, you
that's
actually
cool.
can't remove it. You just upload a new one and it replaces. And there was a little bit of weirdness about how file entity handled that, where like if you take file A and that's your original file, and then you edit file A and then you upload file B, like file A changes, and then in the list of files you see file B. So that's like super confusing for people because file B becomes marked as temporary and file A remains permanent, but file B has actually replaced file A. So I changed the way it worked a little bit so that file A remains unchanged the way it is now, but file B doesn't appear in the list as file B. It shows up as like temporary file 86, so that people won't get confused about like why file B is marked as going to get thrown away, but file A isn't when you thought you swapped them. So that's a little non-intuitive. So I could use some feedback on that if you look at it and you're like confused by it. There might be a better way to handle that. But yeah, it was really confusing when you saw the wrong file, like the new file about to be deleted. So you're like, I just put that there. That's the one I wanted. But really the old file was the new file, just the name doesn't change. So that's confusing for people.
Sounds like I'm likely to mark that back to needs work then, because
yeah.
I bet you there's not a test included for that. If it's confusing, there should be a test. And actually, if it's new functionality, there should be a test. So
yeah, I don't think I put any tests in there, but there might be some from file entity we can steal. I'll have to change them because I changed the functionality because it used to be confusing, and now it's slightly confusing.
Jen, I haven't been in the queue lately. I need to take a look at the issue. Is this supposed to be handling a case where you want to replace a file, an existing file, with a one with the same name? Is that the case?
The name won't change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lots of cases where people are frustrated with that in Drupal.
So if you went to like a file field and deleted the file field and uploaded a new file via the field, the name will change because it's deleting the old file reference thing and adding a new one. But if you go to the file interface and you use the edit link there, the file name will not change. So it's like, it does solve that problem, but people will need to know where to go to use it in order to get that problem solved. So
I'll take a look at that issue, but my immediate reaction is maybe we should, for this specific purpose, change that specific button instead of edit, replace, which makes more sense as the text of it, because this is what you're actually doing.
Yeah, I think the button, like when you go to add the new file, it does specifically say like replace the file with this one. The reason the button says edit is because there's other things you can edit about the file than just the upload. Like you can change who authored it or the date it was submitted, like all that other crap that like comes along with the file entity. So I don't know, look at it and let me know if you still think it needs to be clearer.
Very interesting. Very nice.
So so that's awesome that functionality at least is in place, even if it still needs perhaps a little bit more review and testing functionality. But the one that will probably immediately follow that one is issue 2633, which allows you to upload a file manually. And so that'll add the add file link that takes you to a page that lets you upload a file without associating it with a piece of content from the files listing page. Still needs work. It'll probably substantially by having the existing file pull request in first because they'll go to the same form.
There's actually different forms.
Oh, really?
There is currently. So I'm porting stuff over from file entity module, and the way that file entity module handles uploading a file, like it shows you an upload dialog, like to add a new file first. It's the first thing it does is the upload thing. And then after you upload the thing, there's a bunch of other information that it requests. And so it's file upload first. Whereas the edit form is editing the entity, and a file upload is just like something you can do as part of editing the file entity. So it's like a field on an existing form that has a bunch of other stuff. Now, the way the file add thing works right now is assuming a 4-step form where like the first step is upload a file, and then based on the MIME type of the file, it asks you a bunch of other things. And we might not want that to be the way it works in Backdrop. Like we might want adding a file to work more like adding a node, where the first step is like what type of file, and then you choose a type, and then you upload a file, and then it like adds other fields based on the type. I don't know. So that's why it's marked as need to work. So I'm trying to figure out how to like undo the multi-stepness of the form and have it still make sense. Because right now you're only allowed, like the way that file entities work is like the file type is tied to the MIME type, which is a little weird. So that means you have to have the file first. But I don't know, trying to figure out like how much of this is easy to port without changing is tricky.
Yeah. Okay, well, maybe not so helped out as I thought, but still, yeah, it was a good idea to split those two out, it sounds like. Let's see, and then lastly in the media category for the 1.8 releases, making files fieldable, which is issue 2632. Not at this point, although I do think that there is actually code there that it is making a good start on that functionality. So it's possible, but unlikely probably at this point.
So that code is definitely a first pass, and it's been marked needs feedback for like a month, maybe even more than that, where people who are working on it need to know if that's even the direction we want to go. And so if the answer is no, then it's probably not likely that that's going to get in. If the answer is yes, then maybe there's some review and revising of the existing code that we could get in. But I think it needs like a sanity check on direction before it can get moved any further along.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, and then there's a bunch of other file and media related items that are under that at 1448, although those are the ones that are the best candidates for 1.8 at this point. There wasn't a design call this week, but we have some design related. I could use some feedback. I took a stab at kind of our installer and the way that the installer looks from an appearance standpoint, and filed 2 issues related to that. 2804. 2803 is a restyling of our progress bar, which is probably important and highly subjective. That it switches us from using this green progress bar that has a little blast thing that indicates progress to like a blue barber pole. And then 2804 is the styling of like step 1, step 2, step 3 that is over in the left-hand sidebar styler. Right now we have some terrible clashing between the green check marks and the green that is in the progress bar because they're not the same green. And so really either one of those issues would solve the problem. Yeah, kind of tackling it from 2 different angles there. So both of those, 2803, 2804, could use some feedback as far as people's perceived aesthetic of those things. I know it's kind of a terrible thing to reach out and say, it's just like the internet. Hey, everybody, what color do you want to? But feedback is definitely welcome there because we haven't actually had like a designer really pushing forward on sound. You guys have like to add?
I love the new progress bar.
I like it as well.
Actually,
I never liked.
I saw way back when we made the original progress bar that you never liked the one that we had, and actually specifically said, "Should we just get a blue striped progress bar?" And I'm like, the answer was no, because nobody did it. But now here we are. Okay.
As for the checkboxes on the sidebar of the installer, I think that Jen's proposal is better. Like maybe replacing the color that we currently have in the tick boxes, the green ones, with the ones that we have from the status report, makes more sense.
Yep. Yeah, it actually, I think I'm in agreement there too. It'll be less stylized, but we'll still accomplish the same goal of making the task list match the rest of 7's styling, which is really all that I was after. So.
Yeah, and bear in mind that this sidebar is not the only place that we use it. The project installer also uses that.
That's a great point. I forgot about that.
I remember that because I'm struggling to fix a few issues with that sidebar. So it shows the install themes step, even though you haven't selected any themes, stuff like that, and it doesn't include layouts. So it's always on my mind, but not enough time.
Yeah. So many things. Let's see, there's a really minor issue, 2765, regarding handling a bunch of fancy quotes and hyphens in Path Auto. Looks like that one's marked RTBC, which is great. Although that one's so minor, yeah, I mean, it's still nice to have new functionality that covers more cases like that. Items regarding updating our libraries, something that we do just to make sure that we're keeping up with the times. And there's currently, well, let's talk about the ones that we have knocked out. So Ckeditor released a new minor version, 4.7, back in May, 4.7.2. And that version of Ckeditor, for the most part, just makes minor improvements to copy-paste support, specifically around table handling, that you can copy-paste multiple cells from Excel and Google Docs now. And so really, to backdrop is a little minimal. We don't have tables on, but they're not turned on out of the box. Other than that, it seemed to have no major impact. Item has been merged, which is great. So we're up to date on Ckeditor. Really interesting things happened in the normalize library between the release of 1.7 to the Normalize 5.0 right now. Normalize 6.0 came out before Backdrop 1.7, but we didn't upgrade to it because it would have broken a bunch of stuff. Then a bunch of really amazing drama happened in the normalized issue queue, and now everything that was broken is basically fixed again in normalized 7.0. And so with really, really minimal impact, normalized 7.0 basically had no substantial issues, and so we've merged, we've jumped from normalize 5 to normalize 7, and that is now in the 1.x branch for 1.8 as well. So lots of fun happening over there.
It was a lot of change, and then the main maintainer just jumped in and said, "I'm going to revert all that." So he reverted everything back to 7.5. They
had a maintainer rumble basically, and then yeah, some really amazing things happening there. Library, at least there's probably a bunch of other libraries we should check out on updating, but is one that we should take another look at, issue 2493. I think that we're already on the latest version of the 1.x version. It's essentially discontinued at this point from support. So upgrading to a newer version of jQuery, which would be jQuery 3, be appealing, but I think that comes with substantial API is. So that might be something that we need to postpone any kind of future updates. But we should check out if there's anything that we need to upgrade side, if there's any more minor versions that we can get out of the 1.x branch or not. So that's it for Backdrop 1.8 status report. There's still a bunch of items that we're trying to knock out in 1.8 that aren't necessarily listed here. You can just issues that are tagged for 1.8 in the GitHub issue tracker by selecting the 1.8 milestone. Let's see. For Backdrop 2.0, maybe May 15th, 2018, the issue at 2704, where we're discussing Backdrop 2.0, and we'll have a deeper in-person discussion. Maybe not at the Backdrop, at Bad Camp, or probably after the Backdrop Summit, I believe.
When is that happening? Date?
Dates, Jen?
Wednesday, October 18th is the Backdrop Summit. Thursday, October 19th is the training, and we're going to try to do the core developer sprint on Sunday, which I think is the 22nd.
For those that are remote,
so that would be the 22nd of week.
For those that cannot be actually attend the place, are there going to be hangouts or some way to like follow?
There for sure will be a hangout on Sunday during the sprint. During the summit last year, we tried to do like a live stream thing, and that's sort of dependent on how good our internet that'll work or not. The training we did a live stream on last year, and the internet was fantastic, but we had kind of a jerry-rigged setup where like Wes's computer had to record my computer or something. So we'll do our best to try and make it possible for other people to watch, but it will be dependent on the circumstances of which the things happen.
Fair enough.
Anyway, I would like to have, if Gregor got the time on Sunday and you're wanting to participate, we'll find a way to include you.
I feel special. Thanks.
Okay, well, that's it for the Backdrop 1.8 update. It sounds like we are go on September 4th, our feature freeze date, which is encouraging because it gives us not just this weekend, but one additional weekend. Sad that this is, maybe not sad, but it is the nature of our project currently that, you know, we're still heavily dependent upon volunteers, and so weekends are where we get a lot of work done. And so I'm encouraged, at least, by getting in those couple of extra days, because for many of our contributors, that means a lot of possibilities to get in whatever their heart's desire is for the next version of Backdrop. So thank you guys, those present, for your feedback on that, and I think that we will make that the plan. General discussion, do we have anything else that we want to bring up or discuss on broadcast?
Update on 1.7.2, Pantheon upstream is updated, and the Docker image is updated, and the Drush Docker image is updated.
Yay!
Awesome, that's great. Okay. Well, if there's nothing else, then that shall be it for this week's meeting. Thank you, guys, again for joining, and thank you, everybody out there, for watching. Goodbye. See you next week, and on the internet.